The rain had been falling since evening, thin and cold, the kind that makes city lights blur into ghosts. I remember the sound of jazz from the rooftop bar, the smell of wet roses on the table between us. Lena looked perfect, too perfect, her red dress shimmering against the night. "Why are you so quiet?" she asked, tracing the rim of her glass. I forced a smile. "Just thinking how far we've come." She didn't smile back. "That's the thing, Ethan. I don't think we're moving in the same direction anymore." My chest tightened. "What does that mean?" "It means—" She took a breath. "I can't do this anymore." I laughed too sharply. "You're kidding? After everything, I'm not." Her eyes didn't tremble. "I've been seeing someone." The world stopped. I heard the rain, the piano, my heartbeat. "Who?" She looked away. "Adrian." I almost choked. "Adrian King. The same guy you said was poison?" She nodded, calm, detached. "People change." "Or maybe money changes people faster," I muttered. Her tone hardened. "It's not about money." "It's exactly about money," I said. "You told me he was controlling, arrogant. He still is," she cut in, "but he believes in my career. He can open doors you never could." I stared at her, rain dripping from the edge of the umbrella. "So that's it? You're leaving me for someone who fits your new dream?" She looked down. "You'll understand one day, understand?" I repeated. "You mean forgive you?" "No," she hesitated. "I mean, you'll understand why I had to choose myself." Her words felt like glass in my throat. I wanted to shout, but all that came out was a whisper. "You're choosing him," she sighed. "He's waiting downstairs." That sentence broke something in me. My voice turned hoarse. "You already made up your mind before you came here, didn't you?" She didn't deny it. She reached into her purse, took out a small silver bracelet I'd made for her months ago, the one with our initials carved inside. She placed it gently on the table. "I can't keep this," she said softly. My hands stayed still. That was supposed to mean forever. Her eyes shimmered, but her voice didn't shake. Forever's too long for people like us. I looked at the bracelet, the rain blurring its reflection. And what am I supposed to do now? She stood, adjusting her dress. "Move on. You're strong, Ethan. Apparently not strong enough to keep you." She opened her mouth to reply, but stopped when a familiar voice echoed near the entrance. Deep, confident, arrogant Lena. Adrian King stood under the canopy, expensive suit, smug smile, his hand resting casually in his pocket. He looked exactly as I remembered, like everything I'd never be. She turned toward him. "I'm ready." That was it. No goodbye, no hesitation. Just finality. Adrian looked at me and smirked. "No hard feelings, right? Business and love both need good timing." I clenched my jaw. "Timing's funny. It changes fast," he chuckled. "Take care of yourself, pal." They left together, disappearing into the rain. I watched their car pull away, its taillights fading into the dark. It's like two red wounds floating away from me. The waiter came over quietly. "Should I bring the check, sir?" I stared at the empty chair across from me. "No," I whispered. "Just the bill." As he walked away, I reached for the bracelet she'd left behind. My fingers closed around it, cold and heavy. I could still feel the warmth of her skin on the metal. Outside, thunder cracked over the city. I slipped the bracelet into my pocket and stepped into the storm. The rain hit hard, soaking through my shirt, but I didn't move. Somewhere between heartbreak and humiliation, something else stirred. A small, burning spark. I didn't know it then. But that night wasn't the end of me. It was the beginning. Asterisk, the days after she left felt like a blur that refused to end. I stopped checking the time. The city moved, but I didn't. Daniel found me sitting in the dark one afternoon, curtains drawn, the floor littered with pizza boxes and half-empty coffee cups. He flicked the light on. "Jesus, Ethan. You look like a ghost that gave up haunting," I groaned. "Turn it off." "No," he said, walking past me. "You've been in this cave for 3 days. You even smell like depression." "I'm fine." "You're not fine," he shot back. "You lost your job, your girl, and your dignity in 1 month. That's not fine. That's a country song." I tried to smile, but it came out wrong. You should write that one, he sighed, dropping onto the couch beside me. You can't keep doing this, man. You're drowning. I already drowned, I murmured. I'm just learning how to breathe underwater. He went quiet for a moment. You didn't deserve what she did. Maybe I did. We frowned. Don't start that pity garbage. You gave her everything. Exactly, I said, staring at the floor. Everything. And that was the mistake. He leaned forward. You think Adrian's happy? That guy's got money but no soul. He'll rot in a gold cage, and she'll rot with him. I rubbed my temples. You don't get it. It's not about her anymore. Then what's it about? I looked at him, really looked. It's about not being that guy again. The one everyone underestimates. The one who gets left behind. He studied me quietly, then nodded. So what now? You gonna crawl out of the ashes and build an empire? Maybe, I said. Or maybe I'll just build something that proves I wasn't worthless. He smirked. That's the spirit. Anger disguised as motivation. It's not anger, I said softly. It's survival. Later that night, when Daniel fell asleep on his recliner, I sat by the window with my old laptop scratched, slow. But still breathing like me, the rain hit the glass again, same as the night she left. I opened a blank document. The cursor blinked like a heartbeat, taunting me. What now? I whispered, and then it came a thought, small but sharp. A network that could connect small businesses with investors. Something real, something scalable. Something mine. Daniel stirred behind me. You working on something? Maybe, I said. An app. He squinted. At 2 a.m? You're still broken. Broken things build strong foundations, I said quietly. He chuckled. What's it called? I looked at the screen, the cursor still blinking. Novalink. Sounds fancy. What does it mean? Nova, a new star. Link connection. Something that rises after burning out. He grinned sleepily. Damn, that's poetic. I'm not trying to be poetic, I said. I'm trying to survive, he yawned. Fine, Einstein. Just don't forget to eat while building your empire. I will, I lied. Hours passed. Lines of code replaced memories. I forgot about Lena's voice, Adrian's smirk, the pitying looks from people who thought I was done. The pain didn't vanish, it just turned into fuel. At dawn, I saved the first version of Novalink. My hands trembled, but not from fear, from purpose. Daniel woke up, rubbing his eyes. You're still at it? Yeah. He looked at the screen, then at me. You're serious about this, huh? I nodded. If love failed me, maybe ambition won't, he grinned. Now that's a quote. Put it on your company wall one day. I leaned back, exhaustion and clarity mixing like dawn and night. Maybe I will. The sun rose slowly, painting the cracked blinds gold. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel broken. I just felt ready. The next few months bled into each other, long nights, cold coffee, and a flickering monitor that refused to die before I did. Daniel would peek into my room every morning. You slept? Define sleep, I'd mumble. He'd roll his eyes. You're gonna fry your brain before the app even launches. Maybe it'll run faster that way, I'd joke weakly. But truth was, I was exhausted. Mentally, physically, emotionally. Every day I pitched Novalink to investors who smiled politely, then ghosted me like I was contagious. One afternoon, after my 12th rejection that week, a man at a cafe laughed when I showed him the demo. You think anyone's gonna download your pity project? He sneered. People want apps that make money, not sympathy. It's not pity. It's opportunity, sure, he said, sipping his latte. Opportunity for failure. I walked out before I said something I'd regret. Outside, the air felt colder than it should have. I stared at my cracked phone screen, seeing my reflection, tired eyes, unshaven face. But something's still burning inside. That night I told Daniel, maybe they're right. Maybe it's just a stupid dream. Put his feet up on the table. Dreams only stay stupid until they work. And if it never does, then at least you went down swinging, he said. but I don't think you will. His faith steadied me more than he knew. Still, I couldn't shake the loneliness that crept in after everyone slept. Then came Grace. She walked into my life like she owned the air around her, confident, sharpened, dressed in ambition. I met her at a startup networking event, the kind where everyone pretends they're billionaires waiting to happen. She listened quietly while I explained Novolink. When I finished, she tilted her head. You built this alone? Yeah, well, with caffeine and insanity. She smiled faintly. You've got something here. I blinked. That's the first time anyone said that. Then you've been talking to the wrong people, she said. You don't need investors. You need attention. Belief first, money later. Her words hit deeper than she knew. You really think it's worth saving? I think it's worth fighting for, she replied, and I can help. What's your angle? I do PR, startups, reputation management, storytelling. You've got the story, I've got the strategy. I hesitated. I can't pay you, then don't. Pay me when it works. That was the start. Grace became my anchor in the chaos. She set up meetings, polished our pitch, somehow convinced people to care. You talk too much like a coder, she said once, leaning over my laptop. Stop selling features. Sell feelings. Feelings don't fund servers, I muttered. She grinned. But they attract people who do. Her confidence was contagious. I started believing again, not just in Novolink, but in myself. We spent nights working in cramped cafes, eating instant noodles, laughing between code crashes. Daniel called us the Broke Avengers. When the first small investor finally said yes, just $10,000, I stared at the email in disbelief. Grace grinned. See, told ya? The grind pays off. I laughed for the first time in months. We're actually doing this. She nodded. One step at a time. Later, when I was alone, I whispered to the empty room, Thank you, Lena, for breaking me, because in the silence that followed, I realized pain had become my fuel, and purpose my cure. Every rejection, every sneer, every sleepless night wasn't breaking me anymore. It was forging me. 2 years. That's how long it took for everything to change for me to change. One morning, I opened the dashboard and froze. Grace. Look at this. She leaned over my shoulder, eyes widening. Wait, that's 1 million users. My voice came out flat, almost numb. Daniel stormed into the room holding 2 coffees. Why are you both staring like someone died? I turned the screen toward him. He blinked. Holy, we hit it. Yeah, I said quietly. He screamed, spilling half his coffee. We did it. You did it, man. He grabbed my shoulders, shaking me. You're famous now. Grace laughed. He doesn't look famous. He looks like he needs sleep. Fine, I muttered. You've been fine for 2 years, she said, crossing her arms. Maybe try being happy for once. Happy, the word felt foreign. By noon, the office turned into chaos. News reporters flooded the inbox, investors begged for calls, and our servers almost crashed. Grace ran PR like a general, commanding the storm. Statement ready? She asked. Yeah, I said, typing. Novolink is for those who lost connection and found themselves. She smirked, still poetic under pressure. Daniel shouted from across the room. Hey, boss, CNBC wants an interview? You in? I hesitated. Do I have to? Do you want to look mysterious and cool or just depressed and tired? I sighed. Let's go with mysterious. That evening, I sat under blinding studio lights while the interviewer smiled too wide. So tell us, how does it feel to be the youngest founder of the fastest growing communication app in the country? It feels surreal, I said carefully. A lot of hard nights led here. And what drives you? She pressed. I paused, choosing my words. Maybe the need to prove that silence can still make noise. She chuckled politely, not understanding. Afterward, when the cameras turned off, I loosened my tie and exhaled. Grace found me backstage. You did great. Did I? You looked calm. I am calm, I said. Maybe too calm. That night, I visited Mr. Howard, my old mentor, the man who'd believed in me back when no one did. His office smelled of paper and wisdom. He smiled when he saw me. "I saw your face on the news. Then you saw my headache, too." He chuckled softly. "So, you made it." "I guess so. And yet, you don't sound alive." I looked at the floor. "Should I?" He leaned back. "Son, success without peace is just another cage. I thought peace would come after the struggle. It doesn't. You have to build it the same way you built everything else." I didn't answer. I couldn't. He studied me for a while. "Still thinking about her?" I smiled faintly. "You can tell? I've seen that look before in men who win everything except themselves. It's strange. Everyone congratulates me, but all I hear is silence." He placed a hand on my shoulder. "Then maybe it's time to listen to what it's trying to tell you." Later that night, I stood by the glass wall of our new office, city lights reflecting against the window. Daniel was still celebrating with the team. Grace was laughing somewhere in the corner, champagne in hand. I just stared at the skyline, the world, once begged to notice me, now blinking back in neon and noise. I whispered, "You did it." But there was no joy, no rush, just a quiet ache that pulsed where love used to live. Fame came. Money followed. Sleep didn't. And somewhere inside all that success, I realized survival had a cost. I had paid it in silence. 3 years. That's how long it took to turn pain into paradise. Aurelia Bay Resort stood like a dream carved from salt and sun glass walls. Quiet waves and peace money couldn't buy. It wasn't just a business. It was a monument to everything I became after losing her. Grace walked into my office one afternoon, a clipboard in hand. "Guest list for next week's VIPs," she said. I nodded, still typing. "Anyone important?" "Couple of influencers, one senator," and she hesitated, and eyes flicked toward the page. "Lena Hart. Booking under Adrian King." My fingers froze over the keyboard. "Say that again, Lena Hart." "Adrian King." She placed the list down carefully, watching me. "Should I?" I leaned back, letting out a low laugh. "No. Don't cancel." Grace frowned. "Ethan, it's fine. You sure?" "I can rearrange. Let her come." I smiled faintly. "Let's see what silence does." Grace exhaled slowly. "You're colder than you used to be. Or maybe I finally learned to stop burning." Later that evening, I stood on the balcony overlooking the ocean. Sophia joined me, soft-spoken as always. "You're thinking again?" she said. I never stopped. She leaned against the railing. "Grace told me about the booking." "Of course she did. Are you ready to see her?" I smiled at the horizon. "Does anyone ever get ready to meet their ghost?" Sophia tilted her head. "You don't have to be cruel, I'm not. Just curious." "Curious about what?" "I regret looks up close." She sighed. "You still sound hurt." "I'm not," I said. "Just remembering the version of me that begged her to stay." Sophia's tone softened. "That version built this." "Maybe," I murmured. "Or maybe I built this to prove he didn't die for nothing." Silence settled between us, broken only by waves. The next morning, Daniel arrived unannounced, holding a coconut drink. "You look like a Bond villain up here," he joked. I smirked. "Perfect. That's the vibe." Grace appeared in the doorway. "You both done with your reunion? We've got prep for next week?" Daniel flopped into a chair. "So, rumor has it the ex is coming." "True?" Grace glared at him. "Don't start." "It's fine," I said. He whistled. "Man, you've changed." The old you would have panicked. The old Mez, gone. "Good," he said, "because she doesn't deserve to see you weak." Grace crossed her arms. "She's married, Ethan. Let it go." "Married?" I asked, pretending not to know. "Adrian King," Grace said flatly. "The same man I know." I cut her off. "It's poetic, isn't it?" Daniel grinned. "Poetic? It's a movie. You should walk in slow motion when she sees you." Sophia rolled her eyes. "You're impossible, both of you," Grace snapped. "Focus on the resort launch, not your soap opera." I laughed quietly. "Relax, Grace. I'm not planning revenge." "Good," she said, "'cause karma doesn't need help." When they left, I sat alone in the dim light of my office, the ocean's reflection moving across the glass wall. Lena Hart. The name still felt sharp in my chest, not painful. It's distant, like touching an old scar. 3 years ago, she laughed while I broke. Now, she was coming to stay in the empire I built from the pieces she left behind. The irony wasn't lost on me. I whispered to the empty room, "Welcome back, Lena." The waves below answered softly, as if the ocean itself was in on the joke. Asterisk, the welcome dinner was meant to be routine, polished guests, quiet music, ocean breeze. In the same empty smiles I'd learned to perfect, Grace whispered beside me. "Table 4, VIP couple from the city." "Be nice. I'm always nice," I said, straightening my collar. Then I saw her, Lena. The air left my lungs. Time didn't slow. It just stopped moving altogether. She looked almost the same. Elegant, calm, untouchable. But her eyes had lost their shine. Adrian King stood next to her, arrogance in a suit. "Mr. King," Grace greeted. "Welcome to Aurelia Bay Resort." He grinned. "Beautiful place. Who runs it?" I stepped forward, my voice steady. "I do." He turned, extended his hand lazily. "Ah, the manager." I smiled faintly. "Why something like that?" Our hands met. His grip was firm, mine calm. I felt Lena's gaze pierce through me before I even looked her way. "Ethan," she whispered. I met her eyes. Lena. Her fork trembled against the plate. For a moment I saw the memory flicker across her face. The rain, the rooftop, her leaving. She blinked quickly, forcing a polite smile. Adrian chuckled. "You two know each other?" She hesitated. "We went to college together. I kept my tone even." Something like that. Grace gave me a curious look, but I ignored it and gestured toward their seats. "Please enjoy the evening." Dinner carried on around us, laughter, music, polite chatter. But at our table, silence was the loudest sound. Adrian leaned back, sipping his wine. "So, Ethan, how long have you been working here?" I smiled. "Since before it existed?" He frowned. "Meaning?" "I helped build it." "Ah, construction background." "Something like that," I said again. Lena's hand tightened around her glass. "This place, it's incredible," she murmured. "Thank you," I replied softly. "Every detail means something to me." Her eyes flickered with confusion, maybe recognition. "You've changed," she said quietly. I leaned closer. I had to. Adrian laughed. "Man, you're serious." "Relax. Enjoy your success while it lasts." "The world moves fast, I know," I said. "Some people blink and everything they thought was permanent disappears." He smirked. "Deep words for a resort manager." "Experience," I said, sipping my drink. Across the table, Lena's breathing quickened. She looked away, pretending to be engrossed in the sea view. But when I said her name softly, deliberately, she froze. "Lena." "God." Her head turned, slow as if dragged by gravity. "Yes." "Welcome back," I said. Her lips parted slightly, but no words came out. Just a small, broken exhale. Adrian glanced between us, amused but clueless. "I'll have the chef send dessert," I said, standing. "It's my personal recipe," Adrian smirked. "You cook too?" "Something like that." Lena's gaze followed me as I walked away. I didn't look back, but I felt it. The weight of every unspoken thing she wanted to say. Grace caught up with me near the bar. "What was that?" "Dinner," I said. That woman looked like she'd seen a ghost. I glanced at the ocean through the glass walls. Maybe she did. Outside, waves crashed gently against the shore, like applause after a long performance. Karma didn't shout that night. It whispered through polished glass, expensive. Wine, and the silence between two people who had finally switched places. The week began with laughter and champagne. By midweek, whispers replaced the music. Grace leaned over my desk. "You've seen the headlines?" I nodded. "Adrian King and Co. Under investigation. Fraud, missing funds, unpaid debts." She smirked. "Poetic." "Predictable," I said. At the restaurant that evening, Adrian's smile was thinner. He barked orders at the waiter, pretending nothing was wrong. Lena sat beside him, quiet, her fingers trembling against her wine glass. I passed their table with a polite nod. Adrian forced a grin. Still smiling, huh? Must be nice when everything's perfect. I met his eyes. Perfection's overrated. Stability lasts longer, he scoffed. You wouldn't understand real pressure. I smiled faintly. Wouldn't I? Lena looked between us. Adrian, stop, threw down his napkin. What? The guy's acting smug? He probably reads about me in the papers like everyone else. I leaned forward slightly. I don't read about men who pretend to be kings. His face darkened. Careful. Grace appeared beside me, calm as glass. Everything okay here? Perfect, I said. Just an honest conversation. You'll regret that tone someday. I already did, I said quietly, then walked away. By morning, the resort buzzed with rumors. Staff whispered in hallways. Phones lit up with headlines. Daniel called. You seeing this? The mighty Adrian King just filed for bankruptcy. I saw. I laughed. You didn't even have to lift a finger. That's some divine irony. Maybe, I said. Or maybe people just reveal themselves. That night, I found Lena by the pool, staring into the water. Her reflection wavered with the ripples. You shouldn't be out here alone, I said. She didn't look up. Did you know? About him. Everyone knew. Eventually. Her lips trembled. I thought he'd changed. I thought you'd picked right this time, I said softly. She turned, eyes sharp. Don't do that. Don't act like you didn't make mistakes too. I made plenty, I said. Mine just didn't cost anyone their future. Tears filled her eyes, but she blinked them away. You hate me. No, I said. I stopped hating you the day I stopped needing you, she whispered. You sound like a stranger. Maybe I became one the night you left. She looked down again, her voice trembling. I didn't think it would hurt this much. Pride always hurts when it breaks, I said. She stood, wiped her tears, and walked away. I watched her disappear into the hallway light, the echo of her heels softer than her silence. Later, Grace entered my office with a knowing smile. You know, Clara told her. Clara? Her friend? She let it slip that this whole place, every stone and board belongs to you. I paused, then exhaled slowly. So she knows. Grace nodded. She does. A knock interrupted us. Come in, I said. Lena stepped inside, eyes red, but steady. You built all this? She asked. I nodded once. From the same hands that made that cheap box? She whispered. Yes, I said. Those hands. She stared at me for a long moment. No anger, no pride. Just the quiet ache of truth finally landing where it belonged. For the first time. She had nothing left to say. Asterisk. She came to my office just after sunset. The glass walls reflected the sea, calm and endless. Unlike the storm in her eyes. I needed to see you, Lena said, voice trembling. I gestured to the chair across from me. Sit. She didn't. I don't deserve to. Then stand, I replied quietly. Her lip quivered. I thought I was chasing dreams, she said, hand shaking. But I was just running from myself. I stayed silent. Words weren't needed. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I told myself you were too small for my world. Turns out you were the only real thing in it. I looked at her, not with anger, but distance. And now, she whispered, I have nothing left but the truth. Truth doesn't fix what's broken, I said. She nodded weakly. No, but maybe it stops the bleeding. For a long moment, only the sound of the waves filled the silence. Do you hate me? She asked suddenly. I smiled faintly. No. Her eyes widened. You should. Hate fades faster than love, I said softly. It burns out. Leaves ash. She covered her face. I ruined everything. You have every right to watch me drown. I shook my head. You're not drowning, Lena. You're learning how deep the water really is. She looked up, broken but sincere. I'm sorry. For the way I left? For the way I made you feel small? You didn't make me small, I said. You just showed me who I was without you. Her voice cracked. And who is that? Someone who doesn't need to be chosen to be complete. She let out a shaky laugh that sounded like surrender. You always had this calm in you. I was too blind to see it. Maybe I didn't have it back then, I said. Maybe losing you gave it to me. The room went quiet again. She wiped her eyes, stood, and looked at me one last time. You really let go, didn't you? I had to, I replied. Holding on hurts longer. She nodded slowly, then whispered, thank you for not destroying me. I didn't have to, I said. Life already did. She left without another word. The door closed gently, and the silence that followed felt lighter than it ever had before. Later that night, Daniel found me by the ocean. He handed me a drink, eyes curious. She came by? Yeah. She cry? A little, he whistled. Man, you could have crushed her. One word from you, and she'd never recover. I stared at the dark water, waves folding against the shore. Why? Life already did. He looked at me for a long moment, then smiled faintly. Guess you're not the same guy who slept on my couch anymore. No, I said. That guy wanted revenge. And now, I said quietly, I just want peace. Daniel nodded. You found it? I watched the moonlight ripple over the ocean. Maybe not yet, I said, but I stopped chasing pain to look for it. The sea answered with a soft hiss against the sand, like it agreed. Sophia handed me the envelope that morning, her voice quiet. She asked me to give you this before she left. The handwriting on the front froze me, looping, elegant, familiar. Lena, did she say anything else? I asked. Sophia shook her head. Only that it was important. I waited until the sun began to set before opening it. The paper trembled slightly in my hands, or maybe it was me. I'm leaving the city. You were right. Love isn't about winning. It's about growing. I hope you found peace where I couldn't. I stared at the ink until the words blurred. Sophia's footsteps approached behind me. You're not going to answer it? There's nothing to answer, I said. She finally admitted she was wrong. She whispered, doesn't that mean anything? It means she's learning, I said softly. And that's enough. She sat beside me, watching as I folded the letter carefully. What will you do with it? I looked at the horizon, orange fading into indigo. End it the right way. Down by the beach, the wind picked up, gentle but sure. I dug my lighter from my pocket, flicked it open, and touched the flame to the paper. Sophia's voice trembled. You're burning it? Yeah. Why? Because some things don't belong to the past or the present, I said. They belong to the sea. The fire spread slowly, curling the edges until the words vanished one by one. I watched them disappear without flinching. When the flame reached my fingers, I let it go. The ashes scattered into the wind, then the waves, dissolving like memory itself. Sophia stood quietly beside me. You okay? She asked after a long silence. I smiled faintly. For the first time in years, yes. She crossed her arms, watching the sea. She loved you, you know, in her own broken way. I know, I said. But love isn't supposed to break people. Sophia looked at me. Then what is it supposed to do? Grow them, I said simply. We stood there for a while, listening. No crashing waves tonight, only the soft whisper of water brushing the shore. The sky reflected calm, like it had been waiting for this silence too. Sophia nudged me gently. So, what now? Now I took a breath, feeling the salt air fill my lungs. Now I start over. She smiled. You sound like her letter? Maybe she finally learned from me, I said, half grinning. Sophia laughed softly. You're impossible. Maybe, I said, looking out at the horizon, but I'm free. The last bit of ash drifted across the surface of the water, glowing faintly before vanishing. For once I didn't chase it with my thoughts. Sophia broke the silence again. Do you think you'll ever see her again? I shrugged. Maybe, maybe not. But if I do, it won't hurt. She nodded slowly. Closure looks good on you. I smiled, letting the breeze brush against my face. Feels better than revenge ever did. The ocean didn't roar that night, it whispered. And for the first time since she left, I listened. Asterisk Daniel tossed a folder onto my desk and grinned. You've gone soft, man. I glanced up from the window. Soft? Yeah, he said, dropping into the chair across from me. The guy who once said sleep was for the weak now hosts meditation retreats and beach yoga. I laughed quietly. People change. He leaned forward. You sure this isn't guilt therapy? Maybe it's gratitude therapy, I said. He raised an eyebrow. That's new. Sophia walked in then, carrying her tablet. You two done pretending to work? Daniel smirked. We're analyzing the emotional evolution of our CEO. Sophia laughed. Oh, the man who just announced free business workshops for small-town startups. I nodded. That's the plan. Giving back? She asked. No, I said, leaning back. Letting go.
Oh.
Daniel frowned. Letting go of what exactly? Everything I used to chase, I said. The need to prove, to win, to hurt back. He whistled low. Who are you and what have you done with my friend? Sophia chuckled. He's growing up, Daniel. I smiled faintly. Maybe I just got tired of fighting shadows. She tilted her head. You mean her? I didn't answer. Some names no longer needed saying. Later that night, I walked along the shore. The waves rolled in slow, patient rhythms. The same sea that once felt like a mirror of my pain now looked like peace itself. Daniel's words echoed faintly. You've gone soft. Maybe softness wasn't weakness after all. Maybe it was strength in disguise. A breeze brushed past, warm and familiar. For a moment, I thought I heard her laugh. Not mocking, not cruel, just distant, almost kind. I didn't turn. I didn't need to. The tide whispered against my feet, like it was saying finally. Sophia's voice came from behind me. You're out here again, Habit, I said. She smiled. Still chasing ghosts? Not anymore. She looked at the sea. Then what now? I breathed in the salt air. Now I live. She nodded slowly. You know, silence suits you. I smiled. Silence, I said softly, is the loudest victory of all.